The next one, Franklin the Turtle, says, what's a good way we can get in front of companies looking for an SEO expert to help them scale their website? I've tried contacting different businesses, but all of them see SEO as an unnecessary expense and say that $500 per month is too much. I don't think much can be achieved for lower unless quality suffers or the work is something very specific. Yeah, $500 a month. I don't even get out of bed for that anymore. I'm sorry. It's just, there's too much work with SEO guys. To $500 a month is just not worth your time or effort. So how do you get in front of people that are looking for it? Well, you know, if you want to get in front of people that are looking for it, set up an inbound marketing campaign. You know, one of the best things that you can do is learn how to run YouTube ads, and start running YouTube ads that run people to a landing page, you know, that you've set up that can, you know, talks about what you think you can do for them or whatever. You know, here's the thing: people that are looking for SEO companies that are looking for SEO services are probably going to be doing searches looking for that. Right? So get in front of them. I think YouTube is one of the best ways to do it because it's inexpensive and it's not that difficult to learn how to run YouTube ads. You got to break some eggs to make an omelet, which means you will spend some money before you can really start to dial a campaign in. But it's very, very targeted. People that go to YouTube that are looking for SEO help, SEO advice, you know, things like that. They're primed and ready to hear that message. And so you can get very, very targeted. And think about it, guys. You can create placement lists, which is essentially you can go out and scrape, and there's tools to do it. We have one. I don't know, Adam, if you can still hear, if we still have an affiliate link for TubeSift. That is one of the best tools for developing a placement list of monetized videos. So those are videos that play ads. So you can go in and actually like compile a list of YouTube videos that are popular, have a lot of traffic, that are talking specifically about SEO. And you can get your ad to play in front of them or during those videos as an in-stream ad, right? So that's a very, very, very targeted way to get in front of an audience that is specifically seeking SEO advice. All right. Another way is using Google Ads in-market audiences. There is a business services, SEO and SEM marketing in-market audience, which means you can get your ad in front of people even if they're not at that moment searching for SEO help. If they have searched for SEO help within the last 30 days, they're in a bucket that Google has determined as in market or likely in market for SEO and SEM, so search engine marketing services. So that means your ad can play in front of them at any time because they are identified by Google as likely in market for those services. So even if they're not searching at that moment for SEO services, you can still get your message in front of them. And so, like I said, if you're looking to get in front of people that are actively seeking it, then there's no better way, in my opinion, than either to join SEO groups and start, you know, contributing and helping out, which is a really, you know, time-consuming way to do it. It works. Or set up inbound marketing campaign, because once you dial the campaign in, it just runs on autopilot. And those would be my two most effective methods for getting in front of people that are seeking SEO services. That's a whole lot different than interruption marketing or outbound prospecting, where you're, you know, forcing your message upon others, which is still an effective way, but you have to have a targeted audience at that point. So that's my take on it. Anybody else?
Yeah, I've got a different take on this, man. Because if he's getting in front of people that are saying $500 a month is too much, you're getting in front of the wrong people, wrong industry, or your messaging is completely wrong. The way that you're approaching this is completely wrong. There are plenty of people out there that are willing to spend between $1,500 and $2,500, and I can go on with this: $2,500 to $5,000, $5,000 to $10,000, $10,000 to $20,000, $25,000, hundreds of thousands a month. There are plenty of people. There are people who are willing to pay me $1,500 to $2,000 a month just for an hour of consultation. The money's there. You have to understand who you're getting in front of. If you're in roofing and you understand that a roofing contractor, a gig for them, one close call is worth $20,000 to $30,000. If you understand that, and you're not charging them anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 per closed lead if you're working leads, or per call if you're working call, or if you're not charging them at least $5,000 a month, then you don't know what you're doing, and you don't know how to sell yourself or your services, or you can't show results so that you can convince the people that you can get them these leads that are going to be that 20 to 30,000 gig. They get 10 of them in a year. They're good to go. Plus all of the little jobs that come along with it, and they've made it that you made them $1 million, and you look like a genius. But if you're only getting paid $500, you didn't do shit for yourself. You didn't do anything except make somebody else rich. Learn, man. This is something that I talk to people all the time about. If you learn your worth, if you learn the value that you bring to people, you would never allow someone to tell you, man, that's too much. Whatever it is that you're charging, they can't tell you, man, that's too much. If you told them 25K, they wouldn't be in front of you unless they knew what it was that you charge, unless they already knew what it was that you're going to hit them with, because they understand what industry they're in. So of course, if you got a carpet cleaner, you can't charge them 5K unless they're doing an industrial carpet in these mega complexes, and they're after that building, and that building is worth millions of dollars. Well, cool, that's different. Understand your industry, understand yourself, understand what you can, what value you bring into it. You have to understand your value and what value you're bringing to the table, so that when you're in that negotiating, it's POFU. It's total POFU when you go into that negotiation from a position of power, not from a position of need or weakness, when they can smell it a mile away and understand, damn.
He's desperate. Desperate.
Yeah, I got him. They know. They smell desperation. These people make deals all day. These people are doing business all day with people trying to negotiate with them. They know. They know. So if you can't go in there with that supreme confidence, there's something wrong. When I see this, well, yeah, man, they're telling me $500 is too much. Man, there's something wrong with what you're doing. Go back and look at your entire process, how you're getting in front of people, and how it is that you're dealing with people, so that nobody ever tells you, no matter how much you charge, because it could be $1 and they'll tell you too much. And it could be 100,000 and nobody will ever, they won't blink, because they understand, people understand business. So something in your approach is not allowing them or keeping them from understanding the business side of this. That's my take on it. Adam?
Yeah, I just want to add one thing, something I've had to remind myself of, and I still do from time to time, is like, don't forget to do the math for people. I agree completely with everything Bradley and Marco said here. Obviously there's a mismatch here. You need to figure that out, whether it's you or them. But, if you're doing this and it makes sense, do the math for them. If you're confident that you can bring in X amount of traffic and they can convert it at X percentage, and each lead is worth Y dollars, do the math, right? And tell them what this means to them. A lot of times we expect people to do that, and either they don't, or they're only looking at the expenses. So paint the picture for them. Say, I can bring you in 100, visitors, uniques a day. We can convert 10% of those. That's 10, and those are worth $100 each to you. That's $1,000 a day. Why wouldn't you pay me $500 a day, right? And I mean, obviously this is made up numbers, but walk them through that. You don't have to pull out some crazy fucking spreadsheet, but you should know this stuff. And if you don't, you need to do work to figure out some rough numbers. Of course, you never know exactly how it's going to convert, but do the math for them.
And you should be able to go into analytics, Search Console, and GMB if it's local, and walk the person through your results and what you can do, so they can see it, they can visualize it, and say, damn, if he does this for me, they'll do the numbers quicker than you will. But you should also have the numbers. Man, they'll do the numbers and say, yeah, I need this guy. It will no longer be a matter of whether they want you. They'll understand that they need you, and conversely, you don't need them. Man, when that happens, when you understand POFU and how to deal from that standpoint, how to approach it from there, you can't lose, and you're going to be closing clients that you never thought you could close.
Yeah, so I think that's really important, is to, know the industries, whatever industries you choose to try to target, which could be more than one. I still truly subscribe to, I only focus on one industry now in my career. This late into my career, I just want to work with tree contractors because I know their margins are high. So why I started to say that was just because, like Marco said, was a great example. The very first lead gen site, besides for my own business when I was an electrical contractor, I when I was first learning SEO, which was way back in tail end of 2009, I did it for my own website and 2 test sites. One was a locksmith and one was carpet cleaners. And Marco mentioned carpet cleaning, and that what I found, what I learned through that was I was able to rank all three of my sites, my electrical contracting site, a locksmith site in Richmond, Virginia, and a carpet cleaning site in Alexandria, Virginia, and a maps listing too for all three of them. And the carpet cleaning site, like the margins were so small there, the search volume was through the roof, which is part of the reason why I targeted it. And once I started contacting carpet cleaning contractors and trying to sell the leads, and at that time I was doing rank and rent. So I was leasing the site out on a flat monthly fee. I had trouble getting it leased out for $150 a month. No shit. And even though I was generating like 30 some calls per week from that site, I think the search volume at that time for that exact match search keyword was like carpet cleaning Alexandria, VA, was like 400 searches per month. And I was able to get to number one. And so I was getting a ton of calls, but the carpet cleaners didn't want to pay. And I found out why. And it was because their margins were so small, because Alexandria, Virginia is a lot of apartment buildings. So a lot of the carpet cleaning jobs were like these $69 like clean your apartment deals. And like they had such small margins because they had to pay for their employees, like, you know, the labor costs, essentially, insurance, the cleaning solution, fuel, like all that kind of stuff, to where they had very, very, very tiny profit margins. So even though I was generating a ton of calls through that site, it was very hard to monetize. And so that was a very valuable lesson to learn right out of the gate when I started started learning SEO and all of that, because I realized then to only go after industries that had higher margins. And that's ultimately why I ended up in tree services, because they have huge margins. And Marco, you said roofing, that's another good one. Remodeling contractors is another good one. There are some of them out there where you can justify, you can justify a much higher cost, expenses, right, for what services that you offer, because you know the margins are there. So, you know, you can select multiple industries. That's fine. Just do your research up front. Figure out who it is that you're talking to, what kind of, like, what their average or median type of profit margins are, so that you know that they have the money, even if they don't want to spend it. You know that they have the ability to be able to afford your services. If that makes sense.
Commercial roofing, man. When you're talking about hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars on one deal. Yeah. You could never charge them $500, man, ever, because then what's your benefit? The benefit is all there. Where's the negotiation? Where's the quid pro quo? Where's the? It's insane to think this. Now, of course, if they close for $1 million, they have expenses, they have all these things, but their profit margin is still huge. The longer they've been in business, the greater the profit margin generally. Not always, but generally.